Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Jaquan,
I'm Jasmine.
and welcome to the Film Spill.
So today, guys, we're going to be reviewing Humans. This is a sci-fi series, and here is the summary. In a world where AI servants are all the rage, the line between human and machine is easily blurred as the two attempt to coexist.
Yeah, this was definitely an interesting series. This is definitely one of those sci-fi series that we're going to definitely check out. Definitely recommend it. The rating I'm going to give this show is going to be a 2. Let's get into my pros and my cons. So, very first pro, like I said, great sci-fi show. Anything sci-fi for the most part, we're going to check out. And I feel like we talk so much about in the future how there's going to be like robots and synths and stuff. And I think this was kind of like a dope interpretation of that. Finding out that the detective Karen was a synth, that was really crazy. Niska went hard, I think she just really fought for like those synths' rights, making sure that, they were, given what they needed to have. And on top of that, she, didn't take no BS. Matilda was very smart. She was kind of like the tech savvy person in the show. Fred escaping from Hob was crazy. Finding out Leo was part synth, that was definitely really wild because that was the first time we started seeing these hybrids. Mia finally regaining consciousness. Karen sleeping with Pete, that was wild. Because Pete was a human. Karen, like I said, she's a synth. All synths gaining consciousness, which I think was a real big part of the show. Fred killing Hob. Maddie getting pregnant with a half synth, half human body, which was like, huh? How do you explain that? But yeah, it happened in the show. Joe sleeping with Mia the robot and then getting his son in trouble. That's like the number one thing that I remember about that show. Jill for sure was an op. I didn't like how the humans messed with some of the synths. Hob was definitely really crazy. David was smart but a creep. Laura's mom wishing she died instead of her brother. That was just, a personal crazy thing. Mia dying was really sad because Mia was like the main character and she was like the main important synth. Karen killing Dr. Miller. Ed and his friends betraying Mia. Pete dying. Leo getting stabbed in the brain and then getting put in a coma. Synths killing people. And I think his name was Anatole. He was definitely a op. He was basically like the leader of the synths in the final season. But other than that, interesting series. I won't say it was the best sci-fi series I ever watched, but definitely check it out.
So I give this a 3 out of 5. Season 1, I liked how we found out that some of the synths had developed consciousness because I feel like that's just so crazy because you just look at them as a machine. I don't know how Pete didn't know his woman was a whole synth. Like, she had a charge of everything. And I feel like the way she acted sometimes was like so robot-y. The scene when the people were attacking the synths and Mia sacrificed herself and kept saying peace, we was just like, what in the world?
Yeah,
It was just kind of crazy. Season 2, I like when Niska went to court to prove that she was a sentient being and not just property. That was just crazy because it's like they were now discussing like should synths have rights? Like
yeah.
these are robots. It was a crazy part where there was a scientist who created an AI from the consciousness of her deceased daughter, and they were exploring like the ethics of creating digital life. So that was interesting. And then Maddie releasing a code that caused every synth in the world to gain consciousness at the same time. That was just crazy. Season 3, Mia sacrificing herself as well to stop the government from wiping out all of the synths. This girl was just always for peace. And like he said, Maddie and Leo getting together and she got pregnant, creating a hybrid species, a half human, half synth baby, which is going to be a whole nother crazy situation. Overall, I like the show because it basically asks the question, can humans and machines coexist peacefully? Which doesn't seem like it, but it was a good show. I give it a 3.
Just like always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. You guys have a good one.